Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today we're going to discuss all the important news items of News Today December 23. But as is customary, let's go through the headlines first. Okay. So there are four important news and seven minor news. The first news is about India New Zealand free trade agreement which has been concluded, which is a good sign for India. The next is about financial fraud control. We have a tool called Financial Fraud Risk Indicator, and which has been successful in preventing frauds worth rupees 660 crores. Okay. The third news is about internationalization of higher education. That means India is keenly focused about raising its global standards as as an entity of education provider, because we have to compete with the universities and colleges of the West, the United States. Okay. The fourth piece of news is about PISA Mahotsav. So this Panchayats Act, which actually enabled the tribal areas as to by providing them grassroots level functions through this PISA Act 1996, especially not ex- especially exclusively for fifth schedule areas. So that law was enacted in the year 1996, and if we say that 1996 was year one, so that way we can say that 2025 is actually the 30th year of PISA Act. So let's see how the act has performed. Let's go through the minor news briefly. The first one is about electoral trusts. These trusts replaced actually electoral bonds to bring in more transparency. The second news is about personality rights. Again, the celebrities are becoming more and more concerned about the violation of their personality rights. Okay, this time it's R. Madhavan, especially after this movie Dhurandhar. The third news item is about Convention on Negotiable Cargo Documents. That means, cargoes are actually goods that travel on ships. So what if the owner of goods which is traveling in a particular ship wants to transfer its ownership to another individual? Again, there will be lots of changes in several documents, but the procedures have been simplified because of a United Nations convention. We'll go through that. The fourth minor news is about composite leading indicator for GVA. That means the RBI is going to use a tool to make prediction about how manufacturing industries in India are going to perform, and accordingly policy changes can be made. The fifth news is about no diversion of forest for non-forest uses, which is very simple, but this time the directive came from the Supreme Court. Sixth, direct firing sight and navigation system. So again, our artillery units are going to be solidified because of this agreement that we have signed with France to create two new, you can say, war machineries or systems which will help us, which will actually help us in wartime without being dependent upon the GPS. We can easily detect enemy targets and we can counterattack. The last piece of news is about SIRT6 enzyme. This enzyme is very essential in controlling certain neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and it plays a very essential role in controlling your brain capacity, how it functions, and the ability to induce sleep and mood alteration. So now let's go through all the 11 news items, 4 major news and 7 minor news, okay? One by one. The first news is actually a very good piece of news, especially at a time when the United States is actually dealing with a cold shoulder. India is not very happy with the developments as regards the United States, especially with regard to the H-1B visa and the trade tariffs which have been suddenly raised. So this is like a boon, okay? In these crucial times, India was looking for a reliable partner, several reliable partners, so that we don't have to simply be dependent upon the United States, okay? So this free trade agreement has been signed with New Zealand, okay, one of our Asia Pacific partners. And the best part about this FTA is that we signed it very quickly, okay. This FTA conclusion has been reached in a very swift manner. So in itself, it is an achievement. And it is actually going to promote employment in India to an extent, to a very small extent, and it's going to open market for Indian products in New Zealand. Similarly, New Zealand is also going to open its gates for, India is also going to open its gates for New Zealand made products. But it is slightly in favor of India because India is actually a developing economy and New Zealand is a developed economy. In India, although its growth rate is very high, we have a, the unemployment rate in India is also equally very high. So what if important, you can say, working professionals from New Zealand come to India and they will further worsen the problem of unemployment in India. For example, New Zealand's dairy sector is very advanced. And at the same time, certain IT professionals in New Zealand are very much sought after as compared to the Indian IT professionals. So what if their players are going to replace our players? I'm just trying to simplify it. Okay. So that's why this is a very cautiously created trade agreement, which is in favor of India. That means it will favor India. India will benefit more from this FTA than New Zealand. We'll see how. So first of all, as you can see, 100% zero duty market access. That means all the Indian goods that are going to be exported to New Zealand will be duty free. That means New Zealanders can easily enjoy India manufactured goods. Okay. This is very crucial. Note it down. 100% duty free Indian manufactured goods. The second most important thing is $20 billion investment that New Zealand has promised to make over a period of 15 years. Okay, gradually. It's not a one-time thing. It will happen over a period of 15 years. So that may be in different sectors, say IT industry or other pharmaceuticals. Okay, we'll need not go through the details. Just if you want to at all retain something, then retain this fact. 20 billion worth of investment, $20 billion worth of investment over a period of 15 years. Okay. India safeguards sensitive sectors, dairy, spices, edible oils. As I said, this FTA favors India a lot. Now, New Zealand has vast pastures. Its cattle industry or allied sectors are very strong, thriving sectors. Okay. And in terms of dairy, New Zealand is actually one of the leading dairy manufacturers. Milk and milk products. What if their milk and milk products come to India? We have Amul, we have Mother Dairy, we have other, Nestle India. So these products will start to suffer. In a way, it's providing employment to Indian people and it's selling its products in Indian market. If New Zealand-based products start to flood our market, our economy will suffer. So that thing has been taken care of. हम लोग क्या करेंगे? These sensitive sectors have been guarded. इसका मतलब if New Zealand wants to export its manufactured products to India, it will receive some duty concession. And that is actually close to 60 to 75% products. But milk products from New Zealand will receive imposition of duty. That is not duty free. So India has made it very clear. Okay. Open services and mobility pathways, including skill talent flows. As I said, their professionals will come to our country and our professionals will find a place in New Zealand. Okay. Ultimately, the broad or the big target is Viksit Bharat, to create a $30 trillion economy by 2047. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. First ever FTA chapter where New Zealand formally recognizes cooperation in health services and traditional medicine. That because we have Adivasis and tribes. There are diverse types of tribes in India. They have their own ancient knowledge, traditional knowledge to cure. As we know, we are aware of this term, which is called Ayush. Okay, Ayush. We have our indigenous medicinal systems, Ayurveda. Okay. Similarly, you must have heard about Maori tribes in New Zealand. They also have their ancient knowledge of how to cure certain health-related problems and challenges. So those traditional systems are also well regarded in New Zealand. And this FTA gives place to traditional or ancient medicinal systems, which is in itself an achievement. Okay. New framework to boost farm productivity and integrate Indian farmers into global agri-value chains. That means Indian agriculturists, farmers, and those who are practitioners of, say, allied sectors, they can sell the raw materials to New Zealand-based industries, and Indian raw material can be used. Okay. So again, it's going to double the income, it's going to help the Indian farmers to double their income. Provision for up to 5,000 Indian professionals to access temporary employment opportunities across key sectors. And at a time when US is making it, the United States is making it very difficult for Indians to go there using H-1B visa, it's a temporary respite, I would say, because only for a temporary period of time, Indian professionals, that too up to 5,000, can go to New Zealand to find jobs. Okay. So that's it about the news. And don't think that one unique question on India New Zealand FTA will be asked in the mains. They may ask about Asia Pacific sector, so you can say that India and New Zealand have actually enhanced or heightened their ties through this trade diplomacy. Okay, trade diplomacy. This is all about trade diplomacy. So this point can be a part of your mains answer. Or maybe a question can be asked in prelims ki India has signed FTA with which of the following countries? UK, New Zealand, and several other countries with which India has signed and with which India has not signed. But now you can see a similar question, not exactly the same, was asked in UPSC prelims 2024 with regard to India-US trade relations. Okay, you can pause the video and take note of that. Now let's come to the second main news, which is also very important. It's related to white collar crimes or white crimes. That means financial frauds. So because India has a growing population and internet penetration is very high, but digital awareness now is not equally or commensurate with the internet penetration. That means many people use the internet. They use different types of apps, UPI based apps, and they play games which has a financial angle, but they were not aware of their financial rights, or they do not have enough idea about financial frauds and how complicated they can be. As a result of which, the RBI and NPCI, in collaboration with MeitY, they came up with this idea which is called Digital Intelligence Platform. Okay, Digital Intelligence Platform, DIP. Okay, DIP, which is Digital Intelligence Platform. That means if you must have also experienced it, many fraud calls you must have received, and these fraud calls are difficult to track. So what happened? Also, if a particular company is committing financial frauds, it will use several numbers. You cannot keep track of all the numbers. Okay. So what happened earlier? We used to list down one by one all the numbers. Then the banks or other financial companies, they used to receive information. Also say UPI based interfaces like PhonePe, Paytm, कि ये number जो is, it has to be delisted, or it has to be marked that this number has a history of committing financial frauds. Okay. Accordingly, several numbers used to be listed down. But that was only after the calls came. It was not real time. It was not real time. Real time nahi tha. The calls would come and then they would be gradually listed down. Now this digital intelligence platform, जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, okay, this is real time. That means we have become more proactive, or we have become proactive. Before that, we are not proactive, we are just reactive. We are responding to a particular situation. So this digital intelligence platform can be harnessed through a tool which is called FRI, or Financial Fraud Risk Indicator. This is a tool which uses DIP. This tool, what does this tool do? This tool lists down mobile numbers or accounts in terms of high risk to low risk. Number one पे आता high risks. These are high risk numbers, and a notification goes to all the financial companies. Okay, कि please be aware of this number. Okay, or please intimate this information to all your customers or those who use your this particular app for financial transactions. Okay, so this information will go through FRI, which is managed by MeitY, a department of MeitY, and the information will be received by the financial players. High risk से low risk, ये medium risk number है, and the third is actually a low risk number. Okay, that means high risk numbers, they have committed huge financial crimes, or they have tendency to commit financial transactions which are fraudulent, and they involve large amounts of money. Third में maybe low risk, we are not very sure, but there is a potential, there is a chance that this number may be involved in one of the financial crimes. We are not sure. That's why low risk. Okay. So using this tool, we have prevented losses worth 660 crores, which is again an achievement. Okay. So if a question is ever asked on digital crime or white collar crimes or white crimes, financial frauds on cyberspace, you can use this as a point that India has actually done a lot. You can mention the name of this tool, FRI. Okay. Let's go through. I have already explained. There's not much to know now. A tool used to detect mobile numbers likely involved in cyber fraud, mentioned, already helped prevent about 660 crore in potential fraud losses. अगर ये नहीं होता तो 660 रुपए के जो 660 crore rupees के पैसे already consumers गवा लेते. So thanks to this app, as a result of which we have saved money worth 660 crore. It classifies risky numbers using data from banks, telecom operators, police, and citizen complaints. Again, you must have heard about the Sanchar Saarathi app, which was in the news for people had mistrust or distrust. But that app was also going to help in gathering crowd-based intelligence. आप भी खुद list कर सकते हैं. Crowd means आम जनता जो information देगा उस portal पे, it will be noted. It will be noted down. कि many customers have complained about a particular number, which is also available on another app which is called Truecaller, I guess. Okay, उसमें भी आ जाता है notification कि please beware of this number. It has been associated with spams or scams or financial frauds. Such numbers are always red marked. Okay. Main challenges earlier क्या था? I have already explained. Fraudsters used multiple SIMs and cross-state networks, and alerts reached banks too late. So that was a reactive measure. Now we are using proactive measure. Okay. FRA walks through the digital intelligence platform. As I said, this is the platform which is used by FRI. And what is FRI? Not Forest Research Institute. It is Financial Fraud Risk Indicator. Okay. If actually there are two Fs, but only one F is featuring in the abbreviation. Financial Fraud Risk Indicator. Enabling real-time information sharing among 1,000+ agencies. What are these agencies? All types of banks, financial institutions, payment gateways. Okay. Banks can now instantly flag suspicious transactions, freeze accounts, and block fraudulent numbers. So this is one big help which you can obtain by using FRI. Overall, India is moving from reacting after fraud to preventing fraud before money is lost through coordinated tech systems. You can use this line in your mains answer. That's why it's highlighted or yellow marked. Before that, as if this is another way to put it. Earlier, our measures were like slightly late or delayed. Now we have become proactive. Before a financial crime takes place, we can make the customers aware of what is going to happen. Okay. You may ask, have questions based on financial fraud been asked? Digital financial fraud? Yes, several times. And two of these questions have been listed down here. You can pause the video and go through. Once it was asked in 2015, okay, considering the threats of cyberspace, possesses for the country, India needs a digital armed forces to prevent crimes. Critically evaluate. Okay. Another such question was based on cybersecurity. A simple looking question. Now let's move to the third news, which is about Niti Aayog's report about internationalization of Indian education. Okay. So what are the problems? Brain drain, aap jante ho. You might have tried also once to go to the West, either the United States or any European country, to continue higher education. Okay. That is the dreams of many Indians now. And what is the reason why many Indians are leaving? Because we are not able to provide quality education in our country. हम अपने देश में नहीं कर सकते. That's why after completing graduation, many people to get their post-graduation degree or PhD, they travel abroad. So this is not a good sign. What are the challenges? एक तो brain drain हो रहा है. Again, many Indians, they're not leaving their country for good. They just want to get degrees and come back or find a job here or maybe find a job there. But the amount of money that you use to get admission there is taken from our country. So that amounts to outward remittance. जिसके कारण एक और भी कारण हो सकता है why dollar is rising against rupee. Because we need more dollar, the demand for dollar rises or the demand for euro rises. ठीक है? As a result of which Indian currency weakens because our money हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा दूसरे currencies चाहते हैं. ठीक है? So let's go through what are the reasons and why Niti Aayog has highlighted this as an important requirement. Okay, internationalization of education is actually one of the key pillars of National Education Policy 2020. Okay, let's go through that. And this topic is important from the point of view of GS paper 2. ये governance related ही है basically. Why India needs internationalization? As I mentioned, outward remittances up to 2000% decade. मतलब to put it into better perspective, मान लीजिए 2015 में the money spent was say 1 rupee. Now it is 2000% of 1. 2000% मतलब कितना हो गया? 2000 divided by तो मैं 20 रुपीस हम स्पेंड कर रहे हैं. 21 रुपीस एक्चुअली. 1 रुपये में 20 तो 100 में 2000. Okay, so the money is quite large because even though the absolute amount is not very high, the increase is dramatic or drastic. So that cost us rupees $3.4 billion in the year actually 2015 to 25. Embed global benchmarks in curricula. So one of the first two reasons are financial, okay, outward remittances and the amount has been specified. Second is that why internationalization of education is required? Because this is like globalization of education. Why should only Indians go abroad? We can also attract talented candidates or students from abroad to come to India and continue their education. So for that we have to make our curriculum or curricula globally competitive. Again, this is one of the important reasons. Embed global benchmarks in curricula, strengthen global workforce readiness. For example, if somebody completes his entire education in India and he is not well aware of the demands, a job that demands Western education. For example, let's say data science. Now data science is very popular, but let's just assume that we use a particular tool here in India. So there are different programming languages and Indian curriculum supports one language. If you go to Germany or the UK, they say no, we actually use the other type of language, say Python or R. These are programming languages for data science. That means the curricula should be such that an Indian studying here can also get a job there, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, be it Germany, the UK or the United States. Okay, that is the sole aim, making the Indian education globalized or raising the global standards in Indian education. So counter brain drain effectively so that people don't have to travel abroad and they can stay here and can learn. Key pillars of NEP, as I mentioned earlier, ये एक टारगेट था कि ग्लोबलाइज करना है इंडियन एजुकेशन को. Build globally integrated higher education ecosystem, improve international student to faculty ratios. That means per one Indian faculty, there should be 30 to 40. अगर मान लीजिए there are 5 international students, we need to raise that ratio to 1 faculty to 30 international students. Okay, we need more international students or global faces in our classes. Promote foreign university campuses in India, or we can attract just like franchisees. We can say the Cambridge universities or Oxford universities to have their proper campuses here in India so that Indians don't have to pay and travel abroad. Just like Kendra Vidyalayas are there in Russia or Tehran, that is actually meant for Indians, but again, an Indian entity having its branches abroad. Support expansion of Indian HEIs abroad. We can also establish IITs and IIMs in Africa because many African students are coming here, and we can also popularize or raise the standards of IIMs and IITs. Or we can have BITS Pilani is also a very good college. It can have its own branches abroad or other Delhi University colleges. Okay. What steps have been taken so far? Bharat Vidya Kosh, a fund to boost R&D, 10 billion sovereign research fund to strengthen world-class research in India, Vishwa Bandhu scholarship. That means India will pay scholarships to international students whoever is meritorious or has tremendous potential, he or she can come to India and continue his higher education. Bharat Ki Aan network, how this can be promoted? We can create a set of brand ambassadors. And who are going to be the brand ambassadors? Not celebrities. Those important, you can say, students who after completing first half of their education went abroad and they made tremendous marks there. They actually achieved feats or earned accolades. Those famous personalities, for example, say Sundar Pichai, he completed his post graduation in the United States. Okay, we can use famous alumni and we can strengthen that alumni network to attract students from other countries to come to India. Okay, so these are Indian grown products. Revamped study in India portal. This portal is used by students abroad to get registered in Indian colleges. We are going to make it more streamlined. This portal is existing, but we're just going to revamp it. Okay, so that's all about this news. Now let's discuss the fourth important news, which is PISA Mahotsav. And as we all know, this is Panchayat Extension to Tribal Areas Act 1996. This act actually democratized, no sorry, didn't democratize. This act extended the Panchayati Raj institutions to tribal areas under 5th schedule. Okay, 2 points you need to keep in mind. 5th schedule. There are 2 schedules, 5th schedule and 6th schedule, which are related to tribal dominated areas. 6th schedule is for 4th northeastern states, which are 6th Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. इन बाकी स्टेट्स को छोड़ के बाकी there are 10 states which are covered under 5th schedule. ठीक है, 5th schedule areas में when Panchayati Raj institutions were included in the Indian Constitution as a result of the 73rd Amendment, there were certain areas which were tribal dominated. So those provisions under Article 243, which were included through 73rd Amendment, could not be directly implemented. So the Parliament thought that we need to have an extension act so that without destroying the tribal identity of those regions, we can implement these new provisions of the 73rd Amendment. उसका नतीजा क्या हुआ? PISA Act 1996. And 1996 marked the first year. Okay, although that was the 0th year, उसी साल हुआ, लेकिन उसी को फर्स्ट ईयर मार्क करते हैं. सो अकॉर्डिंगली 2025 would be your 30th year. ठीक है, ये मैं बोल रहा हूँ. 1996 marked the first year. 1996 marked the first year. So mathematically 2025 would be your 30th year. Okay, so now every time we mark or observe the anniversary of a particular act or law, we go through its salient features or provisions and then we make an assessment of how we have fared. क्या ये act उतना effective हुआ है despite having very good provisions? Let's take a look. ठीक है, 30th anniversary हो गया, celebrated in Visakhapatnam, nobody is going to ask. ठीक है, which was celebrated? PISA Mahotsav. The act reinforces self-governance in 5th schedule areas, already mentioned. Highlights or empowerment of tribal Gram Sabhas. So Gram Sabha is an entity which you need to remember. Every time PISA Act is asked, which is the ultimate governing body, the fundamental governing body, it is Gram Sabha. ठीक है, ग्राम सभा में होते क्या है, उस सारे आसपास के गांव या ग्रुप ऑफ विलेजेस के एल्डर्स होते हैं. ठीक है, एंड लोकल गवर्नेंस. ग्राम सभा रेगुलेट्स मार्केट्स, लैंड, इंटॉक्सिकेंट्स, प्रोटेक्ट्स ट्राइबल कस्टम्स, कल्चर एंड ट्रेडिशंस. एज आई सेड, the tribal people have their own identity. They have their own marriage customs, culture, traditions. These are not governed by state implemented acts. कोई parliament या state legislature नहीं कर सकती. Only the Gram Sabha has the power to make rules or regulations related to the following. Okay, so it is actually a very powerful entity as per the or under the PISA Act 1996. अब देखते हैं क्या क्या काम किया इन्होंने या फिर what are the challenges in the implementation of 1996 PISA Act. Showcases tribal culture, sports, heritage. These 3 points can be grouped under one thing, the power or the powers of Gram Sabha. Let's see how they have fared. The implementation has been weak. You must have come across the 3 F's. 3 F's. Okay. एक हो गया फंड्स, फंक्शंस और तीसरा हो गया फंक्शनरीज. ओके, फंक्शनरीज, just like dictionaries, functionaries, funds, functions, functionaries. Although we have a very good act in place, we have not made subsequent rules. Acts are always overarching in nature. To implement the provisions of an act, we need rules. या by acts, bylaws. ठीक है, एक law बना है, this is the parent law. You need daughter laws to implement the provisions, because acts always give a broad overview. No act tells you how to do a particular act, a particular task, or discharge responsibilities. For that, we need rules. Although we have this act, the state governments fail to make effective rules to implement the provisions of PISA Act. सबसे पहले हो गया, the tasks or responsibilities are not properly divided. Functions. एक if problem क्या है? One of the challenges is this function, F for function. पता नहीं है कि who is going to discharge which responsibility. Second is functionaries. You don't have adequate staff members. बहुत कम staff हैं काम करने के लिए. Even if certain functions are well defined, you don't have that many staff members. तीसरा है funds. Now the central government can impose taxes, the state government can impose taxes. But this grassroots level institutions, Panchayati Raj institutions, do not have enough power to impose tax or to collect money. पैसा कहाँ से आएगा इनके पास? So these 3 are the challenges and they have been listed down here. Implementation weak due to delayed rules. Functions, functionaries, ये दोनों इसी में आते हैं. Rules because you need rules to implement the provisions of the act. Bureaucratic dominance limits Gram Sabha authority. Now Gram Sabha के काम में भी there are BDOs, block development officers or other local officers who try to implement the top down approach. ऊपर से नीचे तक जो रूल्स आता है वो बोलते हैं कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने ये बोला है, ये नहीं हो सकता है. सो दैट इन अ वे ओवरशैडोज द प्रेजेंस ऑफ ग्राम सभास. अब ग्राम सभा के पास पावर जो है उनको डिस्चार्ज करने का मौका ही नहीं मिलता. ओके, बिकॉज पीसा एक्ट एक्सपेक्टेड अ बॉटम अप अप्रोच, BOTTOM, बॉटम अप अप्रोच, कि ग्रास रूट लेवल पे पावर रहेगा and whatever they say that will be implemented, state will not intervene. Okay, लेकिन top down approach अभी भी हो रहा है practically. So there is a difference between theory and practice. Funds, functionaries और funds already मैंने कर दिया. Steps क्या क्या लिए गए हैं to make the provisions of the act effective. PISA GPDP portal, that means ग्राम पंचायत डेवलपमेंट प्लान के लिए एक पोर्टल बनाया गया है. GPDP, this ग्राम पंचायत डेवलपमेंट प्लान portal strengthens planning mechanisms. So if you're going to go about say vaccine, popularizing certain vaccines in your area, COVID-19 में जो हुआ था, या फिर you want to implement a particular centrally sponsored scheme, say MG Narega, now it has been changed. How to raise awareness, how to target beneficiaries. So उसके लिए proper planning जो हो गया. PISA cell and center of excellence enhance capacity building. Capacity building means training them, training the individuals. Only then they can implement the provisions of the act. And training translated into tribal languages. Now see, Jharkhand, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, they have different types of tribes. But most of the official documents are written in the state official languages. Say Odia in Odisha, Hindi in Jharkhand, and Telugu in Andhra Pradesh. What about the tribal languages? Because the tribal people, they're not aware of these modern or mainstream languages. I won't say modern, the mainstream languages. So now a good step has been taken in that direction. Most of the official documents, rules, regulations, bylaws will now be translated into tribal languages, say Santhali or Khondi or Kondho or Bonda languages. Okay, these are the tribal languages. Question कुछ आया था क्या? आया था एक बार एरिया में, इस indirectly from PISA Act in 2025. This was asked in 2025. Okay, you can pause the video and take note of that. Very important area, equally important from the mains point of view. Who knows, they may ask a question on PISA Act because of its 30th anniversary. Okay, be prepared. Let's go through the quick updates. RBI's latest state of the economy report. Okay, it keeps publishing, sometimes biannually also. The report and the targets come, and because India has always been countering the global trend. Even if the world economic growth, the global economic growth is very low, always close to 3%, India's economic growth is always in the range of 6 to 7%. Okay. And that is because India has a growing economy, a growing middle class, demand is always very high, so there is no chance of recession. Okay. So RBI this time also said that strong macro fundamentals will keep India's growth momentum intact. Macro fundamentals means inflation under control. Although it's high, it's under control or tolerable level. Factories production level is also high. Investment is also sound. Strong financial market. Okay. Unemployment is also controlled as per official reports. So macro fundamentals will keep boosting India's economy. GDP projection was revised upwards. Inflation forecast was lowered. Okay. So now inflation is headline inflation in particular is not a problem. That means Indian economy is in good state. Domestic demand and investment support resilience. Okay, that is the best part because India has a huge consumer market. Okay, so kahin na kahin se, unlike the big economies of the developed world, where the market has actually reached a saturation, the demand is not that high. We have a growing middle class. Yesterday's poor is now today's middle class. So they have rising demands, electronic equipments, gadgets, other FMCG goods. Okay. So focus on reforms and productivity gains amid global uncertainties. Even though we have the Russia-Ukraine war going on, Israel-Gaza thing, still India has been resilient. India has been absolutely immune to the global disturbances. Okay. A important thing which has been cited in this report is using the composite leading indicator for GVA manufacturing. That means, in economics, we always study the market by acting as an observer. So whatever is happening, we just note down the trends. We create models to analyze what is happening. But again, just like हमने पढ़ा था अभी financial frauds के case में, once the fraud takes place, then we note down what happened. That was a reactive thing. That means we reacted to the situation. We are trying to analyze the situation. Here it's all about being proactive. We have data science, we have artificial intelligence. Why not create models to predict things? That is what that FRI tool was based. So इस case में, that is what the FRI tool was based on. This time we are using a predictive model which is called composite leading indicator for GVA. That means whatever is going to happen after 1 month, it will give you the report of that, taking into consideration what is the investment level, what is the market sentiments, how much investors have already had invested previously. Accordingly, we can make a prediction how much they're going to invest further. Okay, kitna demand hai in that particular market. On the basis of that, it will create an imaginary scene very close to reality. Ki this is what may happen after a month, or maybe after a few months. ये एक month पहले का आपको idea दे देगा. 1 month's report in advance कि क्या होने वाला है in the economy or in a particular manufacturing sector in the economy. That is what this CLI for GVA is all about. यही एक important चीज है. Otherwise you can ignore everything else. It's better to go through the economic survey of that particular year. Okay. The second minor news is about UNGA adopts the UN Convention on Negotiable Cargo Documents. Cargos होते क्या हैं? Ships. Goods carried on ships. Okay. What if I am a trader? My name is A. I am a trader and my ये sea में मेरा एक ship आ रहा है goods में. ठीक है. And in between I decided कि these goods I'm going to sell in Australia. Then I got to know that in another country I can make more profit in another country because the market sentiments are good. So I'll inform whoever is in charge of transporting my cargoes कि please move towards the other country. don't get the cargoes downloaded in Australia, move to another country, because the market in that particular country is more conducive for profit making. Okay, so immediately the ship, instead of going towards Australia, will go towards that country. Now the documents have to be transferred. I'm the owner and I have contacted another person, say B, in the new economy. Okay, please borrow everything from me and sell that products in your country. Okay, and because I am carrying all the documents related to my ownership, I'll immediately tell that fellow, okay, please, now you are the owner of my cargo or goods, give me this much amount and sell the goods in your market. It looks very simple because I have simplified it. Earlier it used to be very troublesome. इतने सारे goods हैं, इतने सारे cargoes हैं. How to track who is the real owner, or how to immediately transfer the ownership from one individual to the other. It was very troublesome earlier, but now it has been simplified and made easy because of this convention. Negotiable cargo documents. That means easily ownership documents can be transferred from one individual to the other. Both will be in this win-win situation, because I can make better profit instead of moving my ship to Australia to another country, and that headache can be transferred to B, who will sell the products in its local market because he knows the market better, but I'll get my money. मेरा पैसा भी बच जाएगा. इतना दूर तक क्यों मैं लूँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया? What if it's in Singapore, for example? ठीक है. So UN adopts convention on negotiable cargo documents, first uniform global framework for multimodal cargo documents. इसमें भी क्या होता था? From ship to say train, train से bus, bus से again your local transports. So there was a lot of paperwork. Multimodal transport से होता है ना, when goods travel from one country to the other. ऐसा नहीं कि एक ship आएगा, it will come from Australia to a particular industry. Ship से download होगा cargo, it will be transported using train or trucks or buses, trucks or trains, and उसके बाद से from warehouse से फिर जाएगा to the retailers for sale or to other factories if whatever was transported was raw material. Okay, so that's why the documents or the official document work was actually very it was mind-boggling. So now this has been eased up because of this UN convention. Allows cargo documents to be negotiable across road, rail and sea. That means it can be easily transferred from one owner to the other. Enables goods to be sold or used as collateral while in transit. इसके उधार बेसिस पे collateral means क्या होता है? Anything if you want to mortgage something or if you want to borrow money, you can use the lending institution. You can use whatever you have to the lending institution. If I fail to pay the money that you gave me, you can take that thing. It will be your. Normally you give your house as collateral or gold or anything else. So whatever goods you have, the cargoes, they can also be used as collateral if you want to borrow money. Okay. Supports trade finance access, legal certainty and digital supply chains. That's it. इसके ऊपर एक कोई क्वेश्चन तो नहीं आएगा. It can be used in other answers कि global trade को smoothen करने के लिए what are the measures that have been taken at the global level. So you can cite this particular convention which was validated by the United Nations General Assembly. Okay. Protection of personality rights. This is always in the news because of AI and other things and digital marketing. Many of the traits of particular personality or individual are misused. Amitabh Bachchan and Anil Kapoor, they have made it very strict through the court or legal intervention that nobody can use their voice, caricature or in mimicry or any other traits of celebrities and important famous personalities for commercial or non-commercial gains. You cannot copy them. So now the recent context is that of R. Madhavan. Some companies were actually using his images because of the recent success of the movie to sell their products. Okay, so he has taken the help of the Delhi High Court and interim protection has been given. You cannot use his personality traits. Now this is not a fundamental right. Personality rights are nowhere mentioned. Personality rights are not directly fundamental rights. There are certain provisions under Trade Act 1999 And there is an Article 21 angle to it under right to privacy. But there is no such verdict or statement from the Supreme Court. That's why it is not treated as a fundamental right. It does not find place in any of the important statutes also. Okay. It has a commercial angle. But again, because the court has intervened, nobody can copy or imitate the traits of any famous personality, whoever has taken permission from the court. So restrains unauthorized sale of merchandise using his likeness. If you want to use a personality trait of R. Madhavan or any other celebrity, you have to take their permission. Without their authorized consent, you cannot use their personality traits. That is what the news is all about. और एक न्यूज़ है, इंडिया फ्रांस पैक्ट टू प्रोड्यूस डायरेक्ट फायरिंग साइट एंड नेविगेशन सिस्टम्स. वही वाला हो गया, because now what happens, India learned it in the 1999 Kargil war, and also taking into consideration the recent ups and downs with the US, we cannot be dependent upon GPS for artillery or ammunition movement. Okay, that is why, because in fighting, in head-to-head or what is a hand-to-hand combat, when your army is actually involved in actual fighting, you need to locate your enemies first. And we used to rely upon GPS. We still rely upon GPS. But what if the GPS stops functioning or stops providing us information during the wartime? We need to have such war machineries or systems which can work without the use of GPS. And that is what India and France have decided to manufacture. Sigma 30, 30N and CM3MR systems locally. That means they'll be manufactured here in India using the technology from France. India will manufacture it indigenously. So direct firing sight means line of sight fighting. आमने सामने जो युद्ध हो रहा है, line of sight fighting. Unlike using missiles, you can see your targets maybe a kilometer away. So for that we can use actually thermal sensors. आप देखे होंगे infrared sensors in which an individual appears absolutely red. So the more hot an object is, the more intense will be the redness of that particular object captured through thermal sensors. Okay, so we're going to use such technologies either for optical sights directly using telescopes or thermal sensors. Remember these names: Sigma 30N and CM3MR systems produced through are going to be manufactured through this pact between India and France. Okay, it's important from the point of view of UPSC prelims, or maybe in the mains exam they may ask what are the alternatives apart from Russia and the United States upon which India can depend to manufacture defense related items or goods indigenously. Okay, technology transfer and production under Make in India. That's it. Agla news है, what are electoral trusts and how are they funded? Why this was in the news? So in February 2024, Supreme Court said that no more use of electoral bonds. So how will political parties receive funds? Through electoral trusts. No more electoral bonds. No more electoral bonds. Funding only through electoral trusts. So these electoral trusts are fund receiving companies which will transfer the funds to the political parties. And there is a provision which says that %95 of the funds will be given to registered parties. And these trusts, it's mandatory for them to submit annual reports to the Election Commission of India. And what recently happened? Election Commission of India produced a mega report on the basis of the annual reports submitted by the electoral trusts. ये report के हिसाब से क्या क्या हुआ देख लेते हैं. Electoral trusts replaced electoral bonds after Supreme Court scrapped this scheme. 9 trusts reported इतने करोड़ रुपए मिला था in the last financial year. The current year is 2025-26. This much amount was received in 2024-25. To maintain transparency, reports have to be submitted by electoral trusts. Okay. Donations require disclosure of donors' PAN or passport. Electoral bond scheme में क्या होता था? There used to be anonymous transfer of money. So to maintain transparency, now the PAN card will also be noted down. Who, if it's a person or a company, ठीक है, उसका PAN card पता चल जाएगा कि क्या है. Or as I said, 95% of the funds to be transferred to registered political parties. Brain enzyme discovery may open new path to treat neurodegenerative diseases. Neurodegenerative disease means degeneration means decrease in the functionality, and neurodegenerative means anything that decreases or reduces the functionality of the neurons. That means it affects your cognitive ability, thinking ability, and also the other vital functions that your body does. ठीक है, सोचना तो छोड़ ही दो, breathing, walking, mobility, everything is affected. And the most popular, although it should be called infamous neurodegenerative disorder, is Alzheimer's disease. Another one is Parkinson's disease. So what happens? Because some unwanted proteins are produced in the brain, as a result of which neurons lose their functionality. Okay, so now there is a new mechanism to know that. This enzyme, which is in the news, you can simply note it down. Okay, SIRT6, this is called sirtuin. Sirtuin, full form is sirtuin 6 enzyme, is a very helpful enzyme. This enzyme regulates the sleep production and brain capacity. Okay, and there is another amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is something that is beneficial only if it is controlled well by SIRT6 enzyme. Tryptophan क्या करता है? It helps in production of melatonin, serotonin. That means those neurotransmitters which are helpful. There are many chemicals, don't get confused. Okay, first is melatonin, which is helpful for sleep production or sleep induction. Okay, second is serotonin, which is important from the point of view of mood alteration. You feel good, just like dopamine. Okay, so tryptophan actually helps in the production of these neurotransmitters, and its functionality is controlled by SIRT6. अगर SIRT6 is affected in any way, it's an enzyme. ये enzyme अगर affect हो गया, तो tryptophan will stop being helpful to us. On the contrary, it will become a demon for the brain. Tryptophan is good for our brain to the extent SIRT6 is functioning well. अगर SIRT6 का कमजोरी आ गया, कुछ enzyme production it's affected, then tryptophan will no longer be friend to our brain. It will stop producing melatonin or serotonin. होगा क्या? It will produce some toxic chemicals which can cause Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Okay, so that's why the role has been established. It offers new therapeutic targets for neurodegenerative diseases, advances possible treatment pathways for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Okay, so tryptophan is helpful only if it is controlled by SIRT6 enzyme. Enzymes क्या करते हैं body में? They control the different biological processes taking within our body, and enzymes are essentially proteins, digestive enzymes. Okay, so this is a brain enzyme, a neuroenzyme SIRT6, which controls the functioning of tryptophan. If tryptophan works well, then sleep will be perfectly controlled. We'll be able to think properly because of these two neurotransmitters. 4 chemicals नाम है, याद कर लो. Melatonin जो sleep induce करता है, it's a neurotransmitter. Serotonin mood alter करता है, again it's a neurotransmitter. Produce कौन करता है? Tryptophan, by virtue of this thing. Done. Story over. अभी आते हैं और कौन सा न्यूज़ है? SC forest land cannot be used for non-forestry purposes. कुछ बड़ी बात नहीं है. This is something the Supreme Court has said, not even for agriculture purposes. And this is strictly as per the provision of the Forest Conservation Act 1980. ठीक है? That's it. इसमें कोई देखना नहीं. You can pause the video and go through it. So again, time and again we have been telling you all that try to make the most of digital current affairs, which is actually a very comprehensive platform to go through all the important news, that too in detail. And please don't forget to take the 6 questions which will appear as soon as this session is over. Okay, wish you all the very best. Take care.